I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. And I'm so excited to do my podcast live right here with you all. So, as you know, I have a podcast called the Proverbs 31 Boss Podcast. This podcast has been listened to in over 52 countries. Hi, Kai. How you doing? This podcast has been listened to in over 52 countries. And I've been doing it since 2017. Talk about being consistent. When you are consistent, then people can listen to your message. And today I wanted to talk to you about something. I had a question for you today. This month is Women's History Month. It is March 2nd. And no pun intended to my brothers, but I was asking myself this question, and it was, can God make history through you? Can God make history through you? Biblically, when we look at how God made history through people, what happened was they had to leave what was familiar. They had to step out on faith. They had to go to a place that they had never been to before. And they could not just rely on their own strength. They had to rely on God's strength. And that happened every single time God made history through someone. And so for this particular podcast, I want to help you to ponder on some things, to think about some things about your life and if God can actually use you, right? And as I am doing some research on the Bible, I don't know if you guys know, but I am getting my PhD in biblical exposition. And what that literally means is taking the Bible and breaking it down to the simplest form so that everybody can understand it and use the knowledge in their day-to-day life. What's interesting about that is that I've always done that because I didn't understand the Bible. I was one of those people that when I read the Bible, it seemed like people were talking at me and not to me. And so what I learned to do is to see the Bible from, like, when I read the scriptures, I actually ask God to take me into the scriptures so I can understand the environment and the significance of a statement and what was going on at the time and what the person was feeling so that we can be able to apply it to the things that we're going through and working through even right now in our lives, even the good things, the challenging things. There's a lot of instruction is there, especially when you look at the Bible in this way. And so for this particular podcast, when I ask, can God make history through you? I want to share with you some things that as I look at Moses and I look at Abraham, and hi, Sylvia. Hi, Trina. I see Trina here. I see Dana here. I see Renee. I see Kai here. And so, and I see some people that are on Facebook as well as some of the other platforms. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I count it a privilege and an honor for you to be able to come before you every single time and for you to actually listen to what it is that I'm saying. And so let me tell you, I want to share with you today really quickly some common things that I've seen that needed to happen for God to make history through someone. First of all, when God is attempting to make history through you, it is not about you. Okay. Every time God saved a person or raised up a person, he was literally raising up a people. When he delivered a person, he was delivering a people. When he was promising a person, he was promising a people. So it's usually not just about you. It's about the people that you are attached to. And the reason why you need to show up and the reason why you got to be available for God to make history through you is because there's so many people that are crying out to God, that are asking God that your yes is attached to their deliverance or their breakthrough. So you got to show up. And sometimes these are people that you don't even know, that you've never even met, that you don't even know why they're praying and crying, or you may know them, but you don't know what they're going through. And your yes and your diligence and your obedience and you walking with God and sticking to his word and allowing him to use you, how it changed the trajectory of their future. And so for some, these are some things that I saw when I looked at different people's lives. First of all, if God is going to make history through you, right, you got to be better. You got to be better. And I will tell you that this is something that I'm personally going through. A lot of times I'm right in how I feel, but wrong in my response. Anybody like me out there? Right? Right in how I feel, but wrong in my response. Like when you get to a certain level of leadership, you still have to handle things with kid gloves. You can't be one of those people that just say what you want and I'm just keeping it real and I'm just keeping it 100 and all of that stuff. You got to treat people with kindness and fairness, and you still are very honest with them, but you become a woman of poise and polish and wisdom, and you only seek to edify even when you're facing a challenge. And so here's the thing. In the Bible, when we look at people that God did history through, they had to become different people in order for God to use them. Case in point, when Abraham got the word that said that he was going to be the father of many nations, he was like, yeah, that's good because I've been waiting to be a father. But it took 25 years from the time he got the promise to the time that he had one son. Now, some people would say that Abraham was waiting on God to give him the son. But I want to encourage you that God's arm is not short. He's not a God that can't deliver his promise and he got to wait. God had to wait for Abraham to become a father worthy of nations. So his character had to be built over time. So what I'm saying to you is if God is going to use you to make history, you got to be better. You have to be better. You're going to have to change. You can't do things the same way you have done them before. And even though they might be right, and even though they might be comfortable, and they might even be normal in your environment, if God is going to take you to new heights and new places, you have to be better. What does it mean to get better? What it means to get better is to read more books. What it means to get better is to bleed up instead of sideways and down. Come on, somebody. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? You telling people your problems that's in the same place as you, or they haven't even accomplished what you've accomplished. So they just let you just say whatever. But when you bleed up, not only do they hold you responsible for your behavior, your response is your responsibility to them, but they can show you what to do because they've been where you've been and came out of it. Okay, like this is where you have to change. You got to change, right? You got to start thinking better if God is going to use you. The way that Paul thought before he had that Damascus experience was that anybody that was a Christian, I'm going to take them out. But his thinking had to change. And so not only did he have this experience, because we good at having these experiences and having this quick little change, I'm going to just change a little bit, right? But in order for him to be able to preach to the Gentiles, he had to think differently about who they were. He had to be willing to give his life for the very people that he thought wasn't even worthy of living. That's a whole shift of perspective. And if God is going to use you to make history, you have to have a God perspective about what you carry and about your situation. I want to help you with this because when we look at people that God is making history through, Paul did not even think that Christians were worth even being alive. He had to go from that to laying down his life to teach them the truth. That takes a change in thinking. So if God is going to use you to make history, oh yeah, your thinking is going to have to change. You're going to have to come up in how you think. You're going to have to come up in how you speak. You're going to have to come up in how you see people. You also, here's another thing, and this is good right here, right? I believe it was Magic Johnson say this. He said, if you believe that you are the best, and I'm talking to my Proverbs 31 bosses here. If you believe that you are the best, you need to get the best team. Come on. I need y'all to get this. If you believe that you are the best, you need to get the best team. That means train your team, get some people on your team that make you feel uncomfortable, that stretch you, that help you to show up better, and you help them to show up better. If you believe you are the best, you need to get the best team. And when Jesus was out here, getting ready he was training up the disciples, he went and got himself some businessmen. Not because those men were already super saved and ready to go. Let me tell you what those men understood. They understood systems. They understood systems. I want to give all of those men understood. They understood corporate, they understood business, they understood systems. And so when you are building out your business, if God is going to use your business to make history, you got to get some people on your team that don't just get the vision, but they understand the systems. They got to understand the systems, and they may bring different things that even you don't have, which is good. You staff your weaknesses. But if you are the best, you got to get the best team. If you're on a mission, you got to get people that's going to cover areas that you don't see. And most people, they hire with their insecurities. So they hire yes men and yes women, but they don't hire people that's going to challenge their decisions and even get down to the nitty gritty of the details. You need people like that if God is going to use you to make history. Moses could hear from God, but Aaron could speak. So the people heard they received from Aaron, but they was really getting it from Moses. And because Moses and Aaron went together, then eventually Moses began to speak eloquently enough to go to speak by himself when he heard from God. At a certain point, because he and Aaron had been hanging out, Aaron learned how to be a priest and how to reverence God because he was with Moses, and Moses learned how to speak because he was with Aaron, and they already had two different jobs. But when you get around the right team with the people that have the same DNA and the same vision and mission as you, iron sharpens iron, and everybody begins to come up a little bit on the team because we understand the mission and the vision. I understand what I'm good at, but we both are sharpening each other. So you're going to speak better and I'm going to hear God better. Okay? There was a young lady that I met before. And when I first met her, I used to be able to hear from God and she could see. And what ended up happening was the more time we spent together, I could see more and she could hear more. Come on, somebody. I need you to get this. I could see more and she could hear more because I was operating where I was operating and she was operating where she was operating, and iron began to sharpen iron, and we both began to get better because we were on a team and we were coming up together. This is extremely important if God is going to use you to make history. If he's going to use you to make history. If God is going to use you to make history, you got to look better and feel better. Let me tell you something. People limit their success by not taking care of their bodies. I need you to get this. And you might be like, this is not biblical, but this is just what I see in the world today. So this is not the gospel. I'm just telling you. People limit where they go, the territory that they go into because of how they look and how they feel. When you don't take care of your body, when you put your clothes on, you don't feel confident. If you don't take care of your skin, you feel like you can't go without makeup. Okay? If you don't take care of your business and you don't prepare and you don't get ready and you don't feel your best and look your best, when you show up into a room of powerful people, you're going to shrink. You are. And so being a part of making history for God, you got to take care of the temple that your spirit man is walking in. I see people that may be making 7 figures and they don't hit 8 until they start taking care of their body. I've seen people that make upper 5 figures but don't hit 6 and 7 until they start taking care of their bodies. What is the correlation between the two? They are walking with confidence because they feel better. They look better. And so if God is going to make history through you, those weight loss goals and those water drinking goals and that I'm going to stop eating this kind of meat and all of that stuff, you got to get to it because it's a part of your destiny. It's a part of your history. And you might not think that it has anything to do with it, but it does. It does. I believe that this is a season where God is trying to take people to a place where he's going to make history through them. He's going to make history through them. And here's the thing. Everything that I said, even though I talk about business a lot, everything that I said was personal. Because here's the thing. Your business is not going to grow past you. If you don't ever start working on you, you're going to stay right where you are. And you can hire a 10-figure coach, but nothing is going to change until you change. Until you change. You got to change. You got to change. It's your move. It's on you. You ain't waiting on God. He is waiting on you. And so you got to get into position. And here's the thing that keeps people from getting into position as I close, right? I'm going to close right here. The thing that keeps people from getting into position is not having the right information. Is not knowing what to do. Okay? What keeps people from getting into position is two things: not having the right systems and not being held accountable for what they know they're supposed to do. Accountability always closes the gap between what we know and what we do. That's what accountability does. Is your success insurance policy. It is your anointing insurance policy. Because people that even hold you accountable for your anointing, they tell you, what did God say? Don't tell me what you feel. That's nice. But what did God say? Right? You need accountability. There is nobody who did the will of God that did it alone with no accountability. And so as anointed as you are, as gifted as you are, because you don't have accountability, that's why you're not seeing the results that you need to get. That's why you're not changing. That's why your bank account is not changing. That is why your business is not changing. That's why your circle is not changing, because ain't nobody holding you accountable and you don't have the right systems. Y'all, if this spoke to you, if what I said here spoke to you today, thank you for joining me for this podcast. I am doing a masterclass on March 15th called the Kingdom Impact and Income Masterclass. If you know that God is calling you to make more money in this season, if you know that God is calling you to take a place of authority and impact in the industry that he's called you to, I want you to go ahead and click the link wherever you're watching this video and register for the masterclass. Because what I did here in 15 minutes, I'm going to break down the how. How do you do it? How do you know where you are? How do you get out of this, taking this same wilderness trip and setting the same goals every year, knowing that God has been ready to elevate you? It's already been time for you to get elevated. But the problem is not the people. It's not the clients. It's not the service. It's you. It's you. It's you. You need accountability. You need the right systems. And you need somebody to hold your feet to the fire. Accountability, really, all it is ownership. If you have somebody in your life that gets you to take account of where you are and to take ownership, full ownership. It ain't your husband's fault. It ain't God's fault. It's not your family fault. It ain't the devil's fault. It's yours. When you start to take stock and take ownership, then you can really start to get to a place where you move from where you are to where God is calling you to. I got something else special coming up. I want you guys to make sure that you are following me on IG. Make sure that you are following my YouTube channel, and make sure that you register for this masterclass. The reason why is because this month I interviewed two amazing, powerful women that are unsung heroes, that are doing some silent but violent things in the kingdom, right? They're doing some silent things in the kingdom, but they are making a lot of noise. They are disrupting some things. I had a chance to interview them this month for this month's series, Women Making History in the Kingdom. And you're going to be able to see their video interviews on YouTube. And you're going to be able to see their interviews or listen to their interviews on my podcast. So make sure that you are the first to know. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure that if I spoke to you and you like, how do I do that? You're talking to me. My business got to get better. I need to help my family. I know that it's past the time that God called me to do this stuff. I just don't know how to do it and how to do it consistently. I started writing my book, but I can't get past chapter 3, right? I started on my weight loss journey, but I keep getting to this one weight right here and I can't get past it. I started working on my business, but every time I do my business, all hell breaks loose. If that's you, you need to be at the webinar. And one of the first things that we're going to talk about is praying. Because every time you step into a new territory, and never forget this, You want your prayers to be vitamins and not prescriptions. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If you know that whenever you are getting ready to walk out the will of God, all hell breaks loose in your health, you need to be covering your health as soon as God gives you a new assignment. That's vitamins. Prescriptions is, I'm in the ER, can somebody pray? When you take enough vitamins, you don't need that many prescriptions. When you take your vitamins regularly, you don't need prescriptions. Understand what I'm saying. Whenever God calls you to a new territory, whenever he calls you to a new industry, a new assignment, you get ready to go start speaking, you getting ready to do this, you want your prayers to be vitamins. So that way, you don't have to keep calling these emergency prayer meetings. You already know how you're going to get attacked. You already know how you're going to get tripped up. You know you and your husband might not be speaking for a day or two when you start going into this realm. So get some people on post to pray. These are the systems that I'm talking about. Last night, I met with a group of women who are part of my Wise Council. And this is what I'm going to be teaching people in my academy. Because I have women that I trained that are assigned to pray for me, that are a part of my Wise Council. They don't make decisions for me, but they hear things from God and they bring them to me so I can make decisions with Wise Council. Okay. So this is a success is a team sport. You don't just go alone. You can't go that far by yourself. And so these are some of the systems that I'm talking about. People had systems. We don't have the systems. We think once we get the word from God, we're supposed to just run and go. That's just not how it works. You need to know the timing. You need to know the how. You need to know the battle plan. You need to know the strategy. You need to know who you go with, who you leave behind. What product are you taking into this industry? What is your industry differentiator? You got to know all of that stuff. But you can't do it if you say, God, thank you for this word, and I'm just going to start running. That is not how it works. And this is why so many of us get tripped up, including myself. I've made some mistakes based on getting the word from God and not staying around long enough to hear the strategy. Stay around long enough so you can hear the strategy and how to move forward. Because the way that you slay in this industry is not going to be how you did it the last time. It's going to be very different. And you got to be prepared for that. So I thank you guys for getting on this podcast. Do 3 things for me. I ain't going to tell y'all who the guests are because I'm going to be releasing some flyers next week and they're going to be releasing them too. Amazing women. And y'all know who they are, right? But God put me in connection with them and I'm so honored and so excited about what they're going to share as they release, okay? So I want you to make sure that you subscribe to my podcast. I'm going to put that in the link wherever you're watching this video, right? Inside of the note section or comment section, wherever you're watching this video. I want you to make sure you subscribe to my podcast and my YouTube channel so you can see the video of these interviews of women making history in the gospel. Those 2 women, right? Is 2-part interviews with each one of them. The second thing that I want you to do, the third thing is I just gave you 2 things, right? The third thing that I want you to do is if I spoke to you during this session, I want you to register for my masterclass. It's on March 15th. It's during the day. It's on March 15th. And I'm going to teach you some of the systems and some of the mindset shifts that you're going to need to make in order for God to make history through you. And I'm going to tell you now, it's going to be an investment. And here's the thing. You have to learn how to invest in yourself and in your business. You got to learn this. So usually I do free masterclasses, but this one comes with a workbook and a whole host of knowledge and links. So you're going to have to invest in this, but it's not going to be an arm and a leg, y'all. Go ahead, wherever you are. Once this video goes off, come back to the video and you will see the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my podcast, and join me for the webinar. It's going to be fire. I'm already fired up and I've already been putting together the content. So I'm ready, y'all. If you are ready for God to make history where you are and the people that you are surrounded with through you want to get into position. This is a webinar that you want to be on, a masterclass that you want to be on. I love y'all. I'll see you next time. Be blessed.